friendo, Steve here. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you being here. I'm trying something a little bit different today because I'm trying all sorts of stuff these days. Today, and I've seen many of my contemporaries in this business do this kind of thing, and that's making the tiered list thing. I know I've seen the boys over at Cultaholic do this. I've seen Alex, Queen of the Ring, do it on her Twitch channel. Well, now Steve, King of the Wrestle Juice, is going to do it here on his channel. So join me. Why don't you, as I rank every member of the NWO. For those of you who don't know who the NWO is, really? That's weird. How would you... Come on. It's the NWO. New World Order. Come on. New World Organization of Wrestling. All right. So here they've got... I don't even know if this is every actual... This doesn't look complete. The NWO, okay, well, maybe it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 40, yeah, okay, 46, okay. Wait, no, 3, 11, 33, 34, 35. Really? There's only 35 people? What's up with that? All right, anyways, we'll go ahead and we'll kick this thing off. Well, number one, obviously, Hall of Fame. We got to put the founding fathers in here. Kevin Nash, number one, is my number one member of the NWO. He was the second member, but I'm going to put him up there. Along with, where's Scott Hall? Lex Luger, Scott, where the fuck is Scott Hall on this list? Why am I not seeing him? Is that him? They cut off his head. Yeah, that's Scott Hall. Okay, so first up, we got Hall and Nash. Now, I'm not just doing this in chronological order. Those two, of course. And then, look, admittedly, this is before I knew that such despicable things would come out of his mouth. But, I mean, who wasn't a fan of Hulk Hogan back in the day? You got to put Hulk Hogan up there. I mean, I'm sorry, you have to. It's Hogan. So there's the top three. There's the Hall of Famers right there. Now, I kind of feel like this has to be within the context of their time as NWO members. You can't look at the width and breadth of their career. For example, Sting. I mean, main eventer, NWO. What did he really do in the Wolfpack? It was just kind of weird that he joined them in the first place. I'm going to put Sting in the middle of the card, to be honest with you. So Sting goes there. Bischoff, I mean, how do you, as a wrestler, no, but main eventer, of course. Absolutely. He put them together. He took the idea from Japan and he brought it here to the States and he made it even better. So obviously he goes here. Another Hall of Famer, a guy who's very underrated. Hugely underrated as a member of the NWO, a guy who had so many people fooled into thinking that this middle of the card NWO member Sting was actually in the NWO far before Wolfpack Sting showed up. Of course, I'm talking about NWO Sting. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer in the NWO. Come on now. Everybody thought that this was actually Sting who would join the NWO. I don't think anybody actually believed that, but still, holy shit. David Flair was in the NWO, really? Release that sucker. All right, we're going to go to the releases at this point. Release him. Clearly, you released Disco Inferno. Be honest with you, I didn't even know Disco Inferno was in the Wolfpack. Had no idea. Didn't know that. Louis Spicolli. What a sad case this is. I would never call him a jobber, so I'm going to put him here with Sting in the middle of the card. I kind of forget that Louis Spicolli was in the NWO. I think it was probably not long after he might have joined that maybe he passed away. So R.I.P. Louis Spicolli. All right, we're coming down to it. Obviously, look, I'm sorry, but this dude really came alive. The entire second half, the better half, let's face it, of his career. Scott Steiner, Hall of Famer, NWO member. Come on. This guy took, honestly, if you take a look at all these people, he really took his status as NWO member and used it to launch a brand new career for himself. So Scott Steiner, of course, absolutely Hall of Famer. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give him a main event slot. I'm not going to make him a Hall of Famer. I kind of feel like when Macho Man joined, it was like, okay, wait a second. So the NWO kind of humiliated you. Macho Man was one of those picks where it was like, oh, let's be shocking to be shocking. So we're gonna put Macho Man there with Bischoff in the main event scene. This one's kind of a controversial one, but he's also going to be a main event guy, I guess. I'm going to go with Mr. Perfect. I mean, look, here's the thing that Mr. Perfect did. He literally killed the Four Horsemen. Killed him. When he turned on Ric Flair and bashed his head in that door at whatever that pay-per-view was. It was probably a War Games or something. He literally killed the Horsemen. And according to, I just saw this very recently, my good friendo Denise Salcedo had an interview with X-Pac where she talked about that. And he talked about the fact that after that angle that they ran where Kurt Hennig slammed Flair's head in the door when he was supposed to be a member of the Horsemen, that town that they were in died. Nobody would come to shows anymore. That's the power of what Mr. Perfect did on that day. So Kurt Hennig, he's a main event NWO player. I'll put him there. Who is this even? Is this Barry Darso? Is that Barry? Who is that? Was that, or is that Boss Man? Was Boss Man? I don't know who that even is. Look, clearly, we can get rid of some of these jobbers here. Clearly, he goes there. I mean, Virgil he's a jobber. Look, here's the thing about Virgil. Virgil was there through thick and thin. He was always there, taking those jobs, eating those pins. So we're going to put him a jobber, but not a release. These guys are easy releases. Never should have been in there. Nepotism, no good. We'll put Horace Hogan in there. Let's see here. I mean, really, I don't even remember the Harris brothers being in the NWO. I mean, at that point, was it like a Russo thing? I don't know what the deal with that was. Another guy that actually increased his stock probably more than anybody but Steiner from being in the NWO, Buff Bagwell. I'll put him right there with Sting and Louis Piccoli. Louis Piccoli's a jobber. Come on. I'm sorry. I wanted to respect the man, but Louis Piccoli doesn't deserve to be in the middle of the card with Sting. I'm going to say Sting and Buff Bagwell deserve to be in the middle of the card together. I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this one. Lex Luger, I feel like he's kind of along the same lines as Sting. Like, why was he even there? I'm going to give the same thing to Big Show. It's like, really? They already had Kevin Nash. Why would the Big Show be there? Like, why would Sting be there? Why would Luger be there? The only reason that Buff Bagwell is in the middle of the card with these guys is because Buff Bagwell was like a lower card guy who went up the ladder because of the NWO. These guys, Sting, Show, and Luger, were top of the card guys who really didn't advance themselves by becoming part of the NWO. They actually sort of took a step down. Because, like, if you remember, Sting was the shit, man. So was Luger. And then they join, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And you really want these, like, dad-type guys in your group? No, not really. Miss Elizabeth, I mean, again, she's in that middle of the card group. Didn't really do much for her. Not going to say it did. Another guy who I believe increased his status is Scott Norton. I'll put him middle of the card. So the middle of the card is really guys who either stepped up their status or guys who were already hot and came down. Let's see here. Stevie Ray. I mean, he was above Virgil. And I guess if you're above Virgil, you're here in the middle of the card with all these guys. I feel like Stevie Ray already had a good spot in the middle of the card, and then he just sort of held on to that good spot in the middle of the card, but he didn't fall down and he didn't really raise his stock. He just sort of stayed there. He's a middle of the card guy. So Stevie Ray, I'll put him right there. He had that slapjack. I mean, I feel like $1 Million Man, middle of the card as well, because, he was like a manager like Bischoff, but like Bischoff was like the manager. So that's why Bischoff gets main event manager. So yeah, there's a lot of middle of the card guys here. Totally. Dusty Rhodes, I'll be honest with you, don't even know why he was in the NWO. No idea why he was there. Just for an announcer, for a commentator guy to be in it, maybe. Bret Hart, I mean, you know, how do you not put him up here? It's sort of, I would equate sort of Bret Hart with like Macho Man. It's like he went there, is like, oh wow, okay, like a little too little, too late, maybe. You know, Bret Hart's there, Macho Man's there. Conan totally gets main event status. This guy, he totally climbed up. Man, everybody was into. I don't know if anybody's status grew as much as Conan's once he hit Wolfpack NWO. His little spiel, the Viva La Raza, all that stuff, that was on par with like what Road Dogg was doing. Like Road Dogg brought his status way up from joining DX. And I feel like K-Dog did the same thing. Also, he's a legend in Mexico and he's still going strong. I think he got stabbed at an MLW show. So, you know, just for that alone, he deserves main event status. Let's see. X-Pac, Hall of Famer, easy. The great thing about X-Pac, or Six, or whatever his name is, number one, he was NWO and WCW and in WWE. I mean, a lot of people were. But not a lot of people. Who else was? Hogan. It was just, yeah, the original guys. They were the only people to do that, I guess. Revolutionary wrestler, X-Pac was. He really kind of embodied everything that was NWO. He was like the NWO. He's like basically their mascot. And then he got kicked out and he went to WWF's version of the NWO, which is DX, which is kind of cool too. So yeah, I'm going to put X-Pac here in Hall of Fame status. Plus, he's literally in the Hall of Fame. He's actually there. Rick Rude, the only man to appear on Nitro and the other show, Raw, in the same shot on the same night. One, he had a beard. The other, he didn't have a beard or something like that. So I'm making him main event status. I mean, come on, that's huge. Because the middle of the card is getting too packed now anyways. And he is, I would consider him a manager on par with Bischoff. I would consider that. I don't even, who is this, Tori Wilson? What? I don't, that's just a referee's outfit. That's not an NWO shirt. The Booty Man, you can't put him as a release. You put him as a jobber. He was probably a good helper. Like, he carried that belt. He looked like a tough dude. All right, now we're coming down to some tough decisions. I think this is Brian Adams. Or Brian Clark. I don't know what he did. All right, these are some tough decisions. Jeff Jarrett was in the NWO, factually speaking. I think he was only NWO 2000 because when he was in WCW earlier, either they didn't want him in the NWO or like he didn't want him. I think they didn't want him in the NWO. So he was only in the NWO when Vince Russo came along and they recreated NWO 2000, the black and silver. That was the same NWO. I mean, Bret Hart was in that one too, but I think Bret Hart had already done a stint in the NWO. I think maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, for his enthusiasm, you got to put him up here in the main event. And then Shawn Michaels, I mean, he was in that really crappy, lame him and Booker T. The WWE version of the NWO, they could just go away. It was no need to be there whatsoever. And in fact, I'm going to put the Big Show there too because he was part of that. And like, yeah, I feel like he didn't really do. No, he's not a jobber though. Like they should job out the entire WWE version of the NWO. Job them out. Virgil was the jobber. Louis Spicolli, he was great, but I don't remember him being an NWO. Dusty Rhodes, come on now, really? That was just one of those shock picks. All these guys down here never really should have been in the NWO in the first place. And then, yeah, let's order these guys in their proper order. Steiner probably, these guys deserve to go here. NWO Sting on the lower end of the Hall of Fame class, but he definitely deserved to be there. Because that's just high entertainment value. Who just thinks, hey, let's get a dude and just have him be a different wrestler and like try to trick people, but it's like clear that this dude is not Sting. It's kind of great. Let's see here. The main event tier, I'll probably put Bret Hart ahead of Mr. Perfect. K-Dog ahead of Mr. Perfect, not ahead of Bret Hart. Yeah, K-Dog ahead of Bret Hart. K-Dog, people, you have no idea. If you weren't there, people loved Conan. People loved it. I would say people loved Conan more than they loved Randy Savage in the NWO. That's not really true. Come on, there you go. All right, Jeff Jarrett ahead of Rick Rude. Yeah. In fact, man, Jeff Jarrett might be the middle of the card. He was really one of the things, like, there was way too much Jeff Jarrett. Let's put him like right here. I say Jeff Jarrett goes like after Miss Elizabeth. No, she never wrestled. We'll put Jeff Jarrett right. That's actually not true, but we'll put Jeff Jarrett behind Luger. I mean, the Wolfpack was a cool thing, so it doesn't matter. Even if you were sort of as nerdy as Lex Luger was, people still thought you were pretty cool because you're in the Wolfpack. Buff Bagwell, that's sort of like, yeah, he really increased his stock. Yeah, I think this is all good. Stevie Ray ahead of $1 Million Man. Yeah, I'll buy that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, all this is true. I mean, this guy should not be even close to being a jobber. He's trash. Bring this guy up a bit more. I think this is Barry Darso. I mean, I have no idea. All this is all on the set. Like this, maybe Brian Adams or Clark or whoever this guy is. I think it's Brian Clark. I don't know who it is, man. It's wasn't he part of Chronic or something? I don't know, man. Anyways, let's see here. Shawn Michaels. Yeah, we'll put Shawn Michaels at the top of the jobber status. Him and Booker T. Really Booker T up here. And then, Virgil, top jobber of the original NWO, sure. Louis Spicolli. We'll put this guy. Yeah, no, he deserves to be over here. Because he's like on the verge of release. All right, so there you go. All right, argue away in the comments. I want to hear all your guys' complaints with this, validations of this. Just rip up my comments. Let me know exactly what you think about this list. You really can't argue with that Hall of Fame tier, though. Come on now. You got Nash. You got Hall. You got Hogan. You got Scott Steiner. You got X-Pac 6 Pac. And you've got a fake Sting brother. I mean, come on. That's great, right? I did it, everybody. So let me know what you think in the comments. Hey, drop this. Do me a big favor. Give this video a big thumbs up. Unless you didn't like it, in which case you probably shouldn't be here anymore. Give me a subscribe. And then, drop some comments there for me. And then, of course, be sure to go over to mfshophere.com if you want to take a look at Steve's comic books. Why isn't he on the screen right now? Because they're over here. For some reason, I put them all the way over here. Bang, there you go. mfshophere.com. You can check these out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.